What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to be previewing Port Adelaide's round 14 clash against Geelong this Saturday night at Adelaide Oval. It's going to be a huge game for both sides. The Geelong Cats coming off a bye, a big rest for them after having such a dominant first half of the season, and Port Adelaide coming off a disappointing loss against the Dockers last week in Perth. Port Adelaide are finally back home after 5 weeks of travelling, so this is going to be a very enticing clash. Underdog story. It's basically Rocky versus Drago in a massive game at the Adelaide Oval. So let's preview it and see what Port Adelaide can do to get the job done.
Good well, and then that is the centering kick to Carl Amon. He's a chance, strikes it beautifully. Carl kicks a big goal.
I've channeled everything possible to give the team a bit of motivation this week. I've got the Rocky picture showing, a bit of motivation for them this week, the inspirational story, the underdog. Can they do it? I don't know if Port Adelaide can do it this week. I'm holding no expectations, holding no hopes for the side, because it's going to be one of those games where a lot of us fans are going to be going to the game and thinking, oh, how great could this get? But you never know. There's a few stats there that you might like that might actually change your mind. So let's get into a bit of opposition watch with Geelong. Obviously, they are top of the ladder, 12 games played, 11 wins, 1 loss. The only loss coming against the Giants 8 games ago, because they've been on an 8-game winning streak, and they've been unstoppable this year. And they actually, for me, are by far the premiership favourites by daylight, because they have been phenomenal. They've only lost once to Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval since the redevelopment of the ground and Port Adelaide transferring over to play their home games there. And that was in round 14 in the first season, and that was Anzac Ground that year. We won by 40 points. And you know what? That's the only time Port Adelaide have beaten Geelong since the 2007 grand final. That's 14 out of 15 games Geelong have won against Port, which is an astronomical stat. They've had the wood on us for so long, and it's time to turn that around. This is a new era of Port Adelaide. The new youngsters, they don't know what it was like back then. There's a taste of that with Boak and Westhoff, and Robbie Gray as well, but that's got to change, and this has got to change this week for Port Adelaide. And Geelong, they've got a dominant midfield, they've got a dominant defence, they've got a fantastic forward line. They're just a complete package, and this week Port Adelaide are up against it. The interesting stat, though, is Geelong have never won after the bye. That tells me that Geelong go into the bye, they're pretty happy with their performances, they're pretty content with their results, they're refreshed, they come into the next game with a couple of weeks off, and they're not switched on. So that's a little enticing for Port Adelaide and for the fans to think, you know what, there's half a chance there. And I've seen a few comments around the place that actually some people do believe we can get the job done, which, the cliche of if we play our best footy, we'll win. It's there, especially with that stat, we can jump them early. All right, let's get into some of the game details now. It's going to be this Saturday night where Port Adelaide simply have to start well. We have to jump the Cats. The weather's going to be pretty good. We play in pretty good conditions, and I think we can. If we jump them, Port Adelaide can really unsettle the Cats, and they'll start to pressurise themselves. And if we keep that forward half pressure, the key for Port Adelaide is to play 4 quarters. If we can play 4 quarters of footy, we played 3 last week, played 4 against St Kilda. We didn't play any against Hawthorn, so we've got a lot to make up. And if we can play 4 quarters of consistent, pressurising forward half footy, keep the scoreboard ticking over, then you never know what can happen in the later stages of the game. And if Geelong stick with us or start to run over us, we've got to stick to our guts, stick to what we know, and don't jump into this defensive nature that Ken Hinkley went into last week's final quarter. If we just simply stick to the guns, know what we're doing, then we're half a chance. We're always half a chance if we play the way we should and not defensive. All I want this week for Port, because we know Geelong will bring it. They've got the stars. They've got the weaponry. All we want is effort, and if we can bring that effort to this week's game, then, as I said before, we got a chance. But I just want to see something we can hold hope on to say, yeah, we can beat the best sides. We can take it up to them and we can make finals. But there's still hope there, and I think, if we can show something for them, show something for the players, they can believe in themselves. And you never know how much belief can make a big difference. What is a big bonus for Port Adelaide, though, is the return of the big guns. Wines, Dixon, and Ebert will all play this week. They haven't been officially confirmed, but they're going to play. Come on. Ebert played his first game back. He's going to play with the helmet. He'll be back in. Wines has been super in the SANFL. Dixon's been kicking goals, taking clunks. He's ready. They're all ready. They're going to be back this week, and they're going to bring the heat, because I'm telling you right now, Ollie Wines looks back to his best. Mind you, he's playing Sandful, but he's getting into the game. He's tackling, he's getting those ground balls, and he's actually kicking good. So if he's doing that, then I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him back in the side. One of the things that Port Adelaide need to do is shut down the Geelong midfield. I'm going to list some names for you. Duncan, Kelly, Ablett, Selwood, Dangerfield, whoever else goes in there. They're just so deep in that midfield lineup that no matter who's in the middle at any stage, they're going to be hard to beat. And Port Adelaide's midfield has basically relied on Boak. I think this weekend especially, that midfield's got to help Boak. SPP, Wines, whoever else comes into the side, they've got to be helping in there. And whoever else challenges through, if it's Houston that goes into there, they've got to really help him, because he can't continually hold this team in the midfield on his shoulders, because it's not going to work out. He's done it so far, but not quite good enough, and that's where our team's got to lift the most, is the midfield. That's where I think there might be a sneaky selection this week. Cam Sutcliffe has been awesome in the SANFL. There's a sneaky hint around the players that he may actually play. And perfect week to bring it in. He's been tagging players in the Sandful, kept Lewis Johnston pretty quiet last week against Norwood. Did the same thing for Colquhoun against Sturt. He also kicked 4 goals on the weekend, had 20 possessions himself. So he's a goal kicker, hits the scoreboard, he tacks well, but he also does the tagging role, which is something that I reckon Ken Hinkley's been looking at to shut down a few of the midfielders around the place. And I think he might come in to help Boak out and have a negative influence on Geelong, but a positive one for Port. There's nothing really to... we keep previewing every game. We're going to say, oh yeah, we're great in clearances, great in the stats, we're high up, but we're not high on the ladder. And I think, we can preview that in depth, or we can simply say that Port Adelaide have to be switched on mentally, and we'll simply stick it right up Geelong and probably take this one out. But changes for this week, I'm going with a 3. I have a sneaky suspicion there might be 4, even 5. So in Wines, Ebert and Dixon, out goes Sam Gray, Ryder and Bonner. That's what I think. Sutcliffe, Drew, and Laddams could even come in to replace Ryder. There's those mixtures in there that I think there's a hint that they all could play. So there could be more changes than I think. And my prediction for this week's game is, unfortunately, I'm tipping Geelong by 31 points. I can see us taking it to them, but I can just see us falling away a bit and Geelong just running away with it. It's typical of Geelong v Port Adelaide games of late. So I don't know. I'm nervous, but also got a bit of small hope. There's small hope there, but I'm not having any expectations for this week's game. I just hope they do their best and don't get absolutely smashed. Thank you for watching this preview, Port fans. Comment below what you think of this week's game, what's going to happen, and what your prediction is, and what are you thinking for changes at selection. And yeah, let's hope the boys get the job done. We're going to have the 3 big guns in a big game on Saturday night. It's our Indigenous celebration round, so we'll be wearing our Indigenous Guernsey, so get around that, and make sure you get to the ground this week and support the boys and try and get them over the line. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide content. My name is Anthony, Port fans. Thank you very much for watching. And as always,